Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about something extremely interesting and controversial, and many of you might find this video entertaining as well as informative. We will be discussing the idea of war between heaven and hell. As always, we want to start off with a disclaimer that we respect all religions and beliefs, and we do not intend to offend or disrespect anyone with this video. This is just an exploration of a topic that is often talked about in religious texts and in discussions about spirituality and the unknown. So please keep an open mind and be respectful in the comments section. Alright, so let's get started. First, we will explore the biblical basis for the idea of war between heaven and hell, and then we will discuss different theories and ideas about what this means. According to Christian theology, the war in heaven refers to a conflict that occurred before the creation of the world between the archangel Lucifer, who rebelled against God and was cast out of heaven, along with his followers, known as the demons, and the archangel Michael and his followers, the heavenly angels who remained loyal to God. This war is described in the Bible in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 7, where it says, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. The dragon and his angels fought back, but he was not strong enough. They didn't win." In this passage, the dragon represents Satan and his followers, while Michael and his angels represent the forces of good. It is said that during this war, Satan and his followers were defeated, but they were allowed to roam the earth and tempt humans to sin. There are also other references to the war in heaven in other parts of the Bible, such as in Isaiah 14, verses 12 to 20, where the prophet Isaiah describes the fall of the morning star, which is believed by some to be a reference to the fall of Lucifer, or in Ezekiel 28, verses 11 to 19, where God speaks against the king of Tyre, also believed by some to be a reference to Lucifer. Now let's explore the different ideas and theories about when exactly this war took place. There are three main theories about when the war in heaven took place. Some believe that the war took place before the creation of the world. This theory is based on the belief that Satan and his followers were cast out of heaven before the creation of the world, so that God could create a perfect world without any interference from Satan. Proponents of this theory point to the fact that the Bible states that God created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th day, and they believe that Satan's fall occurred before this 6-day period. Others believe that the war took place when Christ died on the cross. This theory is based on the belief that the death of Christ was a turning point in the battle between good and evil, and that it was at this moment that Satan lost his power over humanity. Proponents of this theory point to the fact that the Bible states that the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom when Christ died, and they believe that this tearing symbolized the defeat of Satan and the opening of the way to salvation for humanity. Finally, some believe that the war is still ongoing and has not yet been decided. This theory is based on the belief that the Bible teaches that Satan and his followers are still active in the world today, tempting people to sin and trying to prevent them from following God. Proponents of this theory point to the fact that the Bible states that we are in the last days, and they believe that the battle between good and evil will continue until the end of time. Alright, so now let's move on to what would happen as a result of this war. What are the possible outcomes? If the war in heaven resulted in the casting out of Satan and his followers before the creation of the world, then it is possible that God created the world in its current state in order to allow humanity to choose to follow him or not. In this scenario, Satan and his followers would be seen as the ultimate source of all evil and suffering in the world, and humanity would be seen as having free will to choose between good and evil. If the war occurred when Christ died, then it could be argued that the war actually occurred within Christ himself, specifically during his temptation in the wilderness. The war would symbolize Christ's victory over Satan and his followers, and the subsequent defeat of evil. As a result, Christ would become the savior of humanity, and those who believe in him would be saved from eternal damnation. However, if the war is still ongoing, then it is possible that the outcome is still uncertain, and that the battle between good and evil will continue until the end of time. In this scenario, Satan and his followers would be seen as active participants in the affairs of humanity and the world, and the choices that humans make would determine the outcome of the war. Now let's discuss what the existence of this war means for us as human beings. Does it mean that we are simply pawns in a larger struggle between good and evil? Or does it give us hope that good will ultimately triumph over evil? Well, the answer depends on your perspective and beliefs. Some people believe that the war in heaven demonstrates the sovereignty of God and his power over all things. They believe that no matter what happens in the world, God is ultimately in control, and that he will ultimately triumph over evil. Others, however, believe that the war in heaven shows that the world is a fallen place, and that evil is a real and present force in our lives. They believe that we are constantly tempted by Satan and his followers to sin, and that we must be vigilant in our faith to resist these temptations. Ultimately though, the meaning of the war in heaven is up to each individual to decide. Some find comfort in the idea that God is sovereign and that he will ultimately defeat evil. Others find hope in the idea that we have the power to choose between good and evil, and that we can make a difference in the world. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it gave you something to think about. Please leave a comment below with your thoughts and opinions on the subject. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and check out more of our videos. Thanks for watching.